To be free from suffering, change your outlook on life and values. Xue Feng. The sea of suffering is boundless, and this suffering is caused by incorrect outlooks on life and values. To escape from this sea of suffering, one must completely change their erroneous views on life and values. One cannot eliminate life's troubles through the possession of more wealth, fame, status, or beauty. Not only will these things fail to free one from suffering, but the more one possesses, the more worries and troubles will arise. The traditional family is a sea of suffering. The pain between husbands and wives stems from mutual possession. Once possession occurs, suffering inevitably follows. The ultimate way to be free from suffering is to relinquish all possessions and embrace a state of having nothing. Life is merely a journey for life in the human world. The more one tries to possess, the more burdensome the journey becomes. To be free from suffering, we must change our traditional outlook on life and values. Learn to be independent. Do not try to manage others, and do not let others manage you. Traditional culture often emphasizes mutual dependence, but in reality, once a person relies on something, they will inevitably try to manage and control the object of their dependence, which leads to suffering. For example, within marriages, partners rely on each other and attempt to shape the other according to their own outlook on life and values. They constantly try to make their spouse act according to their own will. As a result, both parties inevitably suffer. Therefore, people must learn to be independent as early as possible. The earlier they achieve independence, the less suffering they will experience. Let go of possession, trust in the home. Traditional views on life believe that the more one possesses, the better. Thus, people spend their entire lives scheming and laboring to acquire wealth, reputation, status, lovers, and more. However, possession is not a blessing. Once one possesses something, they become its slave. This is especially true in human relationships, where mutual possession should not exist. The belief that you are mine is a mistaken view of life. Those who are possessed feel their freedom is restricted and will inevitably resist, openly or covertly, leading to mutual suffering. Celestials in Lifechanyuan have already found their second home, where all issues related to food, clothing, shelter, transportation, birth, aging, illness, and death are taken care of. Therefore, we must love and rely on the home, shifting our dependency from people to trusting in the home completely. Take responsibility for yourself. Do not blame others. The belief that I'm doing this for your own good is a mistaken view of life. This mindset invisibly imposes psychological and emotional burdens on the recipient and brings unnecessary worries and sadness to oneself. A person must first take responsibility for themselves. Only by being happy and joyful themselves can they bring happiness and joy to others. When people believe they are acting for others' good, they develop expectations and hopes for them. When the other person's words and actions do not align with these expectations, they feel hurt, pained, resentful, and even despairing. In reality, one of the primary sources of life's suffering is having a life perspective that prioritizes responsibility for others over responsibility for oneself. Let go of the past, focus on the future. No matter what one has done in the past, it is simply part of their life's trajectory and destiny's arrangement. It was inevitable. A bodhisattva does not cling to merit. When we have spent our time and youth for others, others have likewise spent their time and youth for us. There is no issue of debt between people. If a person becomes trapped in the past, especially in past achievements, and believes that others and society owe them something, they will inevitably suffer endlessly. Right and wrong will be judged by the divine, and merits and faults will be rewarded and punished by the Tao. You reap what you sow. As long as our past words and actions were good and beautiful, the Tao will surely reward us with goodness and beauty. Regardless of how glorious or tragic the past was, it is already behind us. What matters is facing the future. Only by moving forward and chasing the sun can one live a rational life. Love is selfless giving, not expectation or demand. The greatest creator is love itself. Love is the source of freedom and happiness. If we have love in our hearts, we should willingly and selflessly dedicate ourselves without complaints or regrets. We should not hold any expectations toward the object of our love, or impose any conditions. We should not turn our love into an investment, expecting repayment from the one we love. In reality, once a person understands that love is selfless giving, when they truly think and act this way, they will inevitably receive love in return. If they do not, they must examine whether their love is pure. If they bind others in the name of love, or expect them to act according to their will, then that is not love. The only way to be free from suffering is to transform one's views on life and values. People, it is easy to understand and judge others, but it is difficult to truly understand oneself. When we believe we are right, but continue to suffer, it is precisely because our outlook on life and values are inverted. In such moments, blaming others or resenting fate will not solve anything. To escape suffering, the only solution is to completely change our mindset and correct our outlook on life and values. Once we establish the right perspectives on life and values, happiness, joy, freedom, and bliss will immediately follow, and a bright future will unfold before us. April 11th, 2010.